It's the Mike Francesa podcast on the Bet Rivers Network.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Mike Francesa podcast. After the Giants come from behind Monday night win against the Packers, which may have or may be at the end of the season the game the Packers look back at as the one that got away, the one that maybe cost them. Now, the Packers schedule is not hard the rest of the way. They do have a game with the Vikings, but they have winnable games otherwise. But this is one they probably thought they were going to get, and it looked for a while like it was a game that nobody wanted as the teams continued to just exchange turnovers and exchange fumbles and mistakes back and forth, muffed punts, and Barkley losing the ball when he made a play that looked like it was going to win the game. They come back, get the touchdown, don't get the key 2-point conversion, up just a point, and then the Giants take over, and DeVito took what the Packers give him. The Packers were very, very soft early in that defensive stand. He hits Robinson, then he hits Barkley, then he hits Slayton, and then they tighten up and go, and they play a little man. He hits Robinson, and that's the big one. He turns the corner and gets 32 yards, and then it's just setting up for the winning field goal. So week 14 in football season for both locals. Week 14 will be remembered as a very, very positive and happy week as they both get their fifth wins. And they both get those feel-good wins, as the Jets did yesterday against the Texans, and the Giants do here against the Packers. So the DeVito story will live another week. He will get another start undoubtedly after bringing the team from behind tonight. Did he have a great game at the position? No, he ran the ball great. The Packers have to be very upset about how bad they were in terms of run defense, allowing DeVito to rush for 71 yards in the game. But down the stretch, down a point, that's when you got to make plays, and he did the right thing. He took what the defense gave him. He made the play to Robinson, and they go on to a 24-22 victory over the Packers, hit the 5-8. The Giants have now won 3 in a row, so this season at least has become a representative season. It has, quieted things around the Giants, quieted things around Dable, quieted things about disputes between the coaches and everything else that's gone on. And now the Giants go on the road. They get the Saints next week in a game the Saints desperately win. The Saints aren't that good, but it's a game they desperately need as they're in a three-way logjam at 6-7 in their division. Then it's hello Eagles. Eagles, Rams, Eagles. So they don't see the Eagles once. They see the Eagles twice in the last 3 weeks. And let's be honest, the Eagles are at a point now where they have something to prove. They need to jumpstart their season. Their defense has come apart. They go to Seattle. They're trying to hold on to a division title. They're trying to hold on to, they hope, a possible number 1 seed. They're trying to have another big postseason. They need to get things righted. They look like a very tired, beat-up team right now. Let's see how they do when they go to Seattle this week. But then, even if they lose that game, they are going to come home and they are going to try and regroup. They are going to look at this game against the Giants at home as a regroup game. I don't think there's any question about that. Now, first comes the Saints. So if you're thinking about the Giants running the table, okay, and listen, if you're a Giant fan, why wouldn't you? Because you know what, that's what fans do. That's what fans should do. They dream. They dream of winning streaks. It's a 3. Why can't it be a 7? Okay, except it's the Saints on the road, the Eagles on the road, and the Rams who are playing well, and then the Eagles again. So it's anything but easy the rest of the way. It isn't like the teams they've beat in the last couple of weeks, but it doesn't matter. What you do is you dream the dream, and now we'll see what happens in New Orleans. But without any question, the Eagles are going to be thinking about getting things righted, whether they win in Seattle or lose in Seattle. They are going to think about getting things righted at home against the Giants and finishing strong those last 3 weeks. So it is going to be a very tall order. Now, one thing that was very key here is the Packers did not get to DeVito tonight. DeVito has been sacked an inordinate amount of times. And tonight, it didn't happen. He did not get sacked tonight. They got rid of the ball very quickly. On the last drive, they never got near him. For the night, he did not get sacked once on the evening, and he continues to get the ball in the end zone, whether he runs it in or passes it in, and he has not thrown interceptions, which is the reason why he's still quarterbacking this team, is because he has not turned the ball over. And that is really a critical thing for any young quarterback. He has not done everything perfectly well. We can nitpick here and there. We can nitpick a lot of things, but that's not the point. What he hasn't done is turn the ball over. And if he wanted to keep the job, what he had to do was move the team down the field to get the field goal. He did that. He went 4 for 4 for 53 yards. He took what the defense gave him, and then when the defense switched, he made the play he had to make to break the game open and get himself that field goal try, which they made. Now, you were holding your breath with Bullock in there. He hasn't been anything but he hasn't been in any way a consistent kicker, but he made it, and the Giants move on, feeling good about themselves. It's all hugs and smiles and going wild tonight. That's the case. It would have been a very, very tough loss for the Giants to digest because Barkley had broken it with 2 runs, and it looked like he had iced it with that second run and then lost the ball as he went down. A very peculiar play. The Packers had the run back, and then they score the touchdown, but they don't get the big 2-point conversion, which was critical and could open up the floodgates, and it did. So without any question, it did with just seconds remaining. So a very, very good win for the Giants. Like I said, one of the happier moments in this very, very tough season. It has been a long season for the Jets. It has been a long season for the Giants. But now they have a 3-game winning streak. They can feel like a team again. Dable can start to think about moving forward with this franchise. Hey, don't look at anything about permanency right now. Stop worrying about who's going to quarterback next year and who's going to do this next year and who's going to do what next year. Worry about where they are now and these last 4 games. There's plenty of time in the offseason to sort everything else out. The offseason's plenty long. There's plenty of time to get everything digested and then make your decisions. You don't have to make them. Right now, he's stuck with DeVito. He's not going to change from a winning quarterback. DeVito's not going to lose this job until he does either has a rash of turnovers or loses badly. Otherwise, he's going to keep the job the last 4 weeks. The fans want him to. They're getting a kick out of this. They like the storyline. The local boy does good, the whole thing. So from that standpoint, it's a positive for the Giants. Now, it's hard if you are not a diehard, crazy Giant fan to think things are going to be magical here now against the teams they're going to play. All right? The Saints are not world beaters, but they still are home. They're 6-7. They desperately need this game. They have playmakers. They can be very tough in their building. Okay, so bottom line, it's not an easy game. And then you're going to see the improving Rams, who gave the Ravens everything they could want and lost to them in overtime on a punt return yesterday, but moved the ball at will. They are playing very well. They're very well coached. They are going to be tough to deal with, and they are sandwiched around 2 Eagle games and not coasting towards the playoffs. If anything, they have a lot to prove to themselves and to the division and to the league in the last couple of weeks of the season. So you're going to get the Eagles on high octane. There is no question about that because the Eagles are going to need every one of these games. There's not even an issue about that. They are going to need every single one of these games. And that is going to mean this is going to be a tough slate the last 4 weeks. But you know what? You would have signed up for this a couple of weeks ago when the team was 2-8, and all you heard about was Giant fans saying how they wanted to tank the entire season and take a quarterback. Now you see them jumping up and down and hugging each other after 3 straight wins. The NFL does that to you. Winning streaks in the NFL, no matter when they come, are intoxicating. That's just the nature of the beast. And right now, they have a storyline that they all want to buy into. And that's fine. Believe it. Hope you can believe it for another week and get to 6-8. The Jets are taking the same hopes and dreams down to Miami this week. The Giants will take those same hopes and dreams down to New Orleans this week. And that's what that's what this is about. And that is exactly what this league is about. You know what? Win a game, and then move on to the next week and try to find a way to win the game. That's exactly what it is. And it's not any more complicated than that. The Giants are anything but world beaters. We know that. And these games are not going to be easy. There's nothing easy for this Giant team. It wasn't easy tonight. And at times, this game was a sloppy mess. But when they had to make a play, they made a play. They came from behind and got a win. And anytime you get a win in this league, it is a big deal, okay? Wins in the NFL are hard to come by. You cherish them. I don't care if you're a player. I don't care if you're a coach. And that's where they separate from the fans. Fans can talk about trying to lose and tanking games and stuff like that. But the people in the league never, ever think that way because every game is precious. It has to be. There's not a lot of them. You don't get a lot of them in your career. You want to win them, and everyone counts. And everyone is on your ledger, and everyone is on your resume if you're a player, and it's on your record if you're a coach. And that's why it matters. And you know what? They leave all smiles tonight and getting ready for a trip to New Orleans. And you know what? Hey, that's what it's all about. On the Packers side, a very, very tough loss. I mean, this is a game that, without any question, is going to stick with the Packers. Packers came to New York thinking, we're rolling, we've played really well, and the Packers didn't play well tonight on any level. They didn't do a lot of things right. They did not resemble the team that had buried the Lions on Thanksgiving. Not even close. Or beat Kansas City. Not even close. That team didn't arrive tonight, but that's the NFL. You're not the same team every week. No one plays the same way every week. If they did, it would be a very boring league. But this was a tough, tough loss to take. Packers are still in it. They have weapons. They have an incredibly young offensive unit around their quarterback. I mean, they have the youngest wide receiver tight end room I've ever seen. I mean, they're all first and second year players. And it shows. And it shows at times. And they make mistakes. As a team, they are a very, very young team. But their quarterback has talent. They have talent throughout their lineup, and they're dangerous. So we'll see how they respond off that. Now, when you look ahead, you see that game against Minnesota standing out down the road in Week 17, and you say to yourself, that probably is going to be a playoff game for the Packers because the Packers' schedule is not bad the next couple of weeks. They get the Bucks this week. They get the Panthers the week after. They get then they get the Vikings, and then they get the Bears. Those are 3 very winnable games in the Viking game. They win those 3 games, they have 9. Does 9 get you in the NFC in a wild card? It probably does. It probably throws you into a tiebreaker. I think it's going to be 10 for a tiebreaker. It's going to be 10 for a wild card in the AFC. I think it's going to be 9 for a wild card in the NFC. So if you can get 3 of those 4, you're at least going to be in a position to play for a wild card. If you're the Giants, the best you can do is 9. You need every one of those, every single one, if you are dreaming playoffs. I mean, it's a wild league. All you have to do is glance down to Miami tonight, where the Dolphins had a 2-touchdown lead 2-touchdown lead with 5.5 minutes left and are about to lose 28-27 to the Titans in a game they needed. In a game now that has the Buffalo Bills smiling from ear to ear, because now Miami which has a tough schedule the rest of the way, is not 10-3 as we all thought they would. And you know what? Give it to me, because I said last night, hey, the Dolphins will be 10-3 after tonight's game. Thought they would. This is a devastating loss for the Dolphins. They go to 9-4. The Bills are 7-6. They both now, it's now 6-3 in the conference for Miami, 4-5 for the Bills, but that's a deep tiebreaker in the division. That's the fourth tiebreaker. So it usually doesn't come into play because common games even comes before that when you're breaking ties in the division. Not in the conference, but in the division. Conference games is incredibly important right after head-to-head in conference tiebreakers, not division tiebreakers. So they're important for wildcard tiebreakers, not for division tiebreakers. But the Fish have the Jets next week in a game now that becomes a must-win game for the Dolphins after losing and giving one back to the Titans tonight without any question. Then they have the Cowboys. And then after that, you think it gets more interesting? They have the Ravens and then the Bills. So look at the Dolphins' schedule. Jets, Cowboys, Ravens, Bills. After losing to the Titans tonight. That is a gauntlet after the Jets. 3 straight weeks. Cowboys, Ravens, Bills. And now that Bills game, if the Bills keep winning, could easily be for a division title down there. Now that the Dolphins gave one back tonight in stunning fashion. I'm watching it as it unfolds here, and the Titans come from 27-13 back. The Dolphins scored after the Tennessee turnover. They scored to go up 2 scores in a game where they didn't play well all night, but they scored to go up 27-13 with 4:39 left on the scoreboard. They lost the game as they got a touchdown, a 2-point conversion, got the ball back, and scored again. So a big win for Tennessee and a crushing loss for the Dolphins, who obviously thought as 14-point favorites they were going to win this game tonight and move to 10-3 and continue their edge over the Bills. That closed up dramatically. As a matter of fact, you've seen these division races close up. You have a 3-team 6-7 race with the Bucs and the Saints and the Falcons. You've seen the divisions close up even with Kansas City off their couple of losses. You've seen divisions close up now with the Dolphins and the Bills. You've seen it close up in a lot of places. Even the Lions, they got a big break tonight, the Lions, because the Lions have come back to the pack, but they get a big break because the Packers lose. That is a big one. But Minnesota's 7-6, so that's even closed up to 2 games. So these divisions, except for San Francisco, have closed up now, and Dallas and Philly are in a tie at 10-3. Philly, at the moment, has the better tiebreakers, but again, it's going to come down to play on the field, most likely. They split head-to-head. It's going to come down to play on the field, and right now they're both 10-3, but the Eagles have an easier schedule than the Cowboys the rest of the way. But that's a devastating loss for the Fish tonight. So for the Giants, 3rd straight win, smiles everywhere, 5-8 as they get ready to go to New Orleans. They come from behind to beat the Packers tonight and win a game that they haven't, the kind of game they haven't won all year. So for them, a big positive. A lot of interesting stuff happening in the league, as always, as we go down the craziness. 4 games to go. We are in the stretch run now, and there is a lot on the line, and a lot of teams still alive as they look to see which ones can make some magic in the last month of the NFL campaign. We'll see you later.
Thanks for listening to the Mike Francesa podcast on the Bet Rivers Network.